And every time I touched the scar, I saw that face again. Big head, dark eyes, like it was still watching me. In the dark corners of our skies, strange lights drift where logic dares not follow. Tonight, we turn our gaze upward to stories whispered between truth and madness, encounters that defy explanation, and visitors who may not be of this earth. This is the place where reality blurs and the unknown begins. Welcome to Strange Encounters. You ever have one of those nights where you're so tired you don't even remember pulling the covers up? That was me, October 57. I just finished a double shift at Cincinnati General. Blood, bedpans, the whole circus, and I stumbled into my little apartment off Vine Street around midnight, kicked off my white shoes, hung the uniform on the chair, and fell face first into the pillow. Street lamp light leaked through the lace curtains. That was the last normal thing I remember. I woke up, but I didn't wake up, you know? My eyes were open, but my arms were lead, legs glued to the mattress, couldn't even twitch a toe. And there, at the foot of the bed was, God, how do I even say this without sounding drunk? A praying mantis. Except it wasn't an insect. It was standing upright, maybe 3 feet tall, joints bending the wrong way, skin like wet jade catching the streetlight. Its head was too big for the body, and those eyes, hundreds of tiny black mirrors swirling like oil on water. 2 long arms folded in front of it, patient, like it was waiting for me to finish panicking. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. It tilted its head. Click, click, and a thought slid into my skull, calm as a nurse giving orders. Do not fear, observe. Then it moved, no footsteps, just glided across the rug until it was right over me. Cold fingers, too many knuckles, brushed my forearm, tracing the vein like it was reading a road map. A sharp sting, electric, and suddenly I wasn't in my room anymore. I was on my back in a curved green chamber, warm light pulsing from the walls. More of them, dozens, scuttled on jointed legs, wings folded tight. They wheeled silver instruments over to me on invisible tracks, little cups that sucked skin samples, tubes that hummed against my ribs, a scanner that painted blue grids across my chest. I could feel them cataloging me, lungs, heart, ovaries, like I was a library book and they were checking out. One leaned close, its mandibles clicked a rhythm I almost understood. Earth vessel compatible, it thought at me, return scheduled. Next thing I knew, I was gasping in my own bed, sheets twisted, dawn creeping in. My left arm had 3 perfect bruises, pinch marks, and a rash of tiny diamonds across my sternum that no doctor could name. I called in sick, sat in the bathtub until the water went cold, and stared at those marks until I cried. Told my roommate I'd burned myself on the radiator. She bought it. Years later, a UFO fellow found me through old hospital records, said my story matched a handful of others from that same week. People who saw the giant V in the sky, then woke up with bug bites from nowhere. I still flinch when mantises land on the screen door, and every time the fluorescent lights in the grocery store flicker, I swear I hear that click-click in my head. They told me to observe. I've been observing ever since. Bow season, early 1980s. Before cell phones, before trail cams. I'm out before legal light, creeping a deer trail miles from the nearest fire road. Air smells like pine sap and wet dog. I round a stand of birch and there's this clearing. Too round, too clean. Steam curling off the grass like the ground's exhaling. In the middle sits a cube, 10 foot on each side, matte black, swallowing every sound. No moss, no bird crap, no nothing, just wrong. I should have backed out. Instead, I step closer. Curiosity is a hell of a drug. The air gets thick, like walking into a freezer. Hair on my arms stand up. Cube pulses once, thump, and the side facing me melts open like black mercury. Before I can swear, invisible hands yank me forward. I'm inside. Door seals. White chamber, no corners. Light coming from everywhere and nowhere. 4 figures shimmer into view. Short, translucent, limbs like smoked glass, eyes that look machined. One raises a hand and my bow clatters to the floor, string cut clean. I'm floating spread eagle. They don't touch me with hands. Beams of cold light pin me instead. A grid sweeps head to toe. I feel it catalog every scar, every filled cavity. Something cold and round presses against my gut. Pop, like a biopsy punch in reverse. They slot a metal bead the size of a .22 slug under the skin. I watch the incision close itself. No blood. Thoughts hammer in. Balance requires culling. You take too much. I see flashes. My stand of deer gutted, forest burning, cube ships parked over clear cuts like vultures. Next thing I know, I'm sprawled outside the clearing, cube gone, sky full daylight, bow snapped in half, clothes shredded, a perfect circle of skin missing from my abdomen, edges cauterized. I hike out, bleeding and shaking, tell the rangers a bear got me. They buy it. Years later, I pay cash for an x-ray at a sketchy clinic. There's the bead, glowing faint under black light. Alloy the tech swears isn't from Earth. I still hunt, but never alone, never far from the truck. And every time I raise my rifle, I hear that hum in my teeth. They said balance. I'm trying to take less, leave more. But some nights I swear the forest goes quieter than it should. Like it's waiting to see if I learned the lesson. Picture this. Midnight on the only road between Punta Arenas and Puerto Natales. Black asphalt, blacker sky, fog so thick my headlights just died 10 feet ahead. I'm Karam. Back when I was a councilman with a beat-up pickup and a phone glued to my ear, arguing with a colleague about a stupid budget line. Rancheria music crackling on the radio, coffee going cold in the cup holder, normal Tuesday. Then, bam, a glow straight ahead, low and steady, pacing me at 60 clicks. Not headlights, not a plane. A perfect saucer, maybe 50 feet across, spinning lazy like a coin on a table. Blue and red lights chased each other around the rim. I laughed at first, told my buddy on the phone either I'm drunk or Patagonia just got a disco. The line went dead. Engine died. Power steering locked. The truck rolled to a stop like someone else was working the brakes. Driver's door swings open on its own. I'm thinking bear, bandit, anything human. Then a column of light, soft, warm, lifts me clean out of the seat. Boots dangling, phone tumbling into the gravel. Up I go, 30 feet, into the belly of that thing. Inside, it's all curves and consoles that look grown, not built. 3 figures waiting, tall, hooded, faces lost in shadow. No mouths move, but a voice fills my head like surround sound. You speak for many. Listen. They lay me on a reclining slab that molds to my back. Light sweep, chest, eyes, fingertips. A probe the width of a drinking straw slides between my ribs. I feel it samples something, painless but wrong. Images flood in. Ice shelves dropping into the sea. Hybrid children with my eyes staring through glass. A single pulsing word, disclose. I try to argue. I'm just a local politician. But they show me my own speeches years from now, warning about climate, about visitors. Time folds like paper. Suddenly, I'm back on the highway, truck idling, 200 kilometers closer to Natales than I should be. Clock says 12:47 a.m. Same minute I lost signal. Hands shaking so hard I can't light a cigarette. Eyes feel sunburned. Shirt's torn at the collar. Metallic taste on my tongue like I licked a battery. For weeks after, owls perched on every fence post between home and the capital. Big, silent, staring like they knew my license plate. Then one morning, an old bald guy in a cheap suit walks into my office, no appointment, slides a manila folder across the desk, NASA letterhead, redacted photos of saucers over Antarctica, a single post-it. Tell them what you saw. I still have it in a safe. Haven't opened it since the day I became a senator. But every time the owls line the road at night, I roll the window down and whisper, I'm trying. I was 7, maybe 8, summer when the streetlights still had that orange glow. My room smelled like crayons and the hamster cage I wasn't supposed to have. I'm tucked in, Mickey Mouse nightlight painting shadows on the wall, when I just know it's time. Not a sound, not a light, just a tug behind my eyes. Door creaks open an inch. 2 small silhouettes stand in the hallway, backlit blue. Skinny necks, big heads, the classic little gray guys you see on tabloid covers, except these ones felt like old friends. One reaches out, 3 fingers, cool as lunchroom milk cartons, and takes my hand. We walk right past Mom and Dad snoring on the couch, through the sliding glass door, across the dewy grass. A silver disc hovers above the swing set, ramped down like it's been waiting for me. Inside it's warm, curved walls breathing slow. A table rises from the floor, soft, body temperature. My pajamas lift off like they're bored of me. 3 more beings join us. One has arms like a praying mantis, gentle. They run a wand over me, tingles, no pain. Collecting spit with a Q-tip the size of a straw, shining lights in my ears that make colors I don't have names for. Pictures bloom in my head. They are cities of crystal under purple skies. Kids with my brown eyes learning to wave. A single message, grow kind. I ask out loud, I think, will you come back for my birthday? They tilt their heads, amused. Then I'm walking backward through the patio door, pajamas on inside out, tucked in before the clock ticks 3:01 a.m. This happened 4, maybe 5 times over 3 years. Always the same route, same gentle checkout. I tried telling Mom once, my star friends visited. She kissed my forehead, said I had an imagination. The faint scars on my forearms looked like chickenpox that never itched. When I hit 30, I started sketching the ship from memory. Every curve matches drawings I've never seen. I still sleep with the window cracked. If they come back, I've got questions now. And crayons. Lockdown 2020. Me and the lad stuck in a 2-bed flat above the chippy. I'm knackered from site work. Crash out fully clothed, boots still on. 2 a.m. I snap open like someone flicked a switch. Can't move a muscle. At the foot of the bed stands this thing. Gray-green skin stretched over a head too big for the neck. Arms like coat hangers, eyes black and depthless. It's just watching me. Head cocked, no blink. 2 seconds, long enough to memorize every wrinkle. Then it moves, blurs like a bad CCTV, and it's nose to nose, breath cold as a fridge door. Blackout. I come to, gasping, bedside lamp on. Must have kicked it in the struggle. Stumble to the bathroom, flick the light, and there it is. 3 burn marks on my chest in a perfect triangle. Skin raised and angry, clear fluid beating. Wasn't there when I went to bed. I'd have felt it. I grab my phone, hand shaking so bad I drop it twice, and hammer out a Facebook post. Anyone else just see a gray alien in the room, or am I losing it? Comments flood in. Half memes, half may see a doctor. Under the water, I find the marks are precise, same distance, same depth. Next day, the GP says, contact dermatitis, but orders an x-ray anyway. Radiologist pulls me aside. There's metallic flecks under the skin. Non-magnetic, not shrapnel. I still have the printout in a biscuit tin. Sleep's been rubbish since. Every shadow in the hallway looks like it's waiting to blur. I keep the photo of the burns as my phone lock screen. Reminder, proof, both. If it comes back, I'm leaving the kettle on. 2 sugars, no milk. Maybe manners count up there too. It was the spring of 1967, a quiet night in Edmonton, Alberta. The streets were still, the air was cool, and somewhere above the rooftops of a sleeping city, something watched from the dark. A boy was walking home. He didn't know it yet, but before the sun rose, he would see something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. This is the story of 14-year-old Ricky Banyard and the ship that came to Edmonton. Ricky lived on 106th Street, a normal neighborhood, streetlights casting pale pools of light onto empty sidewalks. It was just after 2 in the morning when he saw it, a white beam of light moving slowly across the houses, sweeping like a searchlight from the sky. He stopped in his tracks, eyes wide behind thick glasses. Above him, hovering silently, was something round, white light pouring downward like a ribbon. A muffled, whistling hum echoed faintly through the night. He followed the light for several blocks until it disappeared behind the Allendale district. Then, just as suddenly, it was back. He ran to tell his friend Glenn Coates. Together, the 2 boys grabbed a pair of binoculars and watched the strange object drift over the rooftops. When Glenn finally went home, Ricky stayed behind, unable to look away. The craft seemed to be waiting for him, drawing him toward the edge of Mount Pleasant Cemetery, just across the street from his house. He hesitated at the gate, then stepped inside. The cemetery was silent. Cold dew soaked his shoes as he crouched beneath the trees. Above him, the disc hovered, maybe 200 feet in the air. A ribbon of light descended from its center, bright white, cutting through the dark. The ground beneath it glowed as though it were white hot. Ricky later said the beam spread out just above the soil, flat, rectangular, and impossibly bright. He crept closer, 50 feet away now, and then he stepped out from under the trees. The light snapped out. A sound tore through the silence, like a jet engine screaming to life. All the lights on the craft went dark. Then came a series of sharp, echoing bangs, 7, maybe 8, and the ship shot upward into the night sky. In seconds, it was gone. By morning, the story was all over the neighborhood. The Edmonton Journal called it the most detailed report of any UFO in the area. Ricky described the ship as spherical with red and green lights. The top and bottom spun separately, like 2 halves turning in opposite directions. And when it vanished, dawn was already breaking, the skull a dull gray blue, the moment caught between night and day. Later that day, investigators went to the cemetery. They found black rectangular marks scorched into the gravel roads, not on the grass, not on the trees, just the ground beneath where the light had fallen. Some of the pebbles were charred. Rocks lay scattered, fused into cinder-like lumps. The cemetery foreman, Joseph LaForge, couldn't explain it. A grader had gone over the road the day before, he said, but that didn't explain the burn marks. He looked down at the blackened streaks, shook his head, and said quietly, "These ones here, I don't know about them. They look pretty unusual." Samples of the strange rocks were sent to the Alberta Research Council for testing. No official results were ever published. Ricky's sketch, a simple drawing of a glowing disc with spinning halves and a beam of light, was shown to others in the area. 5 witnesses said it matched what they had seen that night, and then, like the ship itself, the story faded. No one ever found out what left those marks in the cemetery road. No one ever proved what Ricky saw hanging in the sky above Edmonton that night. But there are things that linger. A boy's memory, a strange light over a sleeping city, and a patch of ground that once glowed white in the dark. If you walk through Mount Pleasant Cemetery today, listen carefully. Some say when the wind is still, you can hear it, the faint whistling hum, the sound of something waiting just above the trees. March 24th, 1967, Mount Storm Air Force Base, Montana. I was 26 years old, a young lieutenant sitting underground, guarding 10 nuclear missiles, 10 keys to the end of the world. And that night, something decided to switch them all off. We were buried deep beneath the earth, a steel capsule built to survive anything. The air smelled of cold metal and recycled oxygen. My commander sat across from me, half asleep, coffee in hand. It was just another quiet night, routine checks, status green. Then the intercom buzzed. "Sir, we've got strange activity topside." I asked, "What kind of activity?" "It's a light, hovering over the main gate, bright red, silent, just sitting there." At first, I thought it was a helicopter or maybe a test flare. But the sergeant's voice, it wasn't calm, it wasn't confusion, it was fear. He said the light was moving, fast, sharp, like it was alive, darting across the sky and then stopping dead. Then the alarm started. Missile 1, no go. Missile 2, no go. Then 3, 4, all 10 offline. In under 60 seconds, every nuclear warhead I was responsible for went dark. We scrambled through diagnostics. No sign of damage, no power surges, no tripped relays. It was like something reached in and just flipped a switch. And that red light, it was still there, hanging motionless above the gate, watching. Then, without a sound, it shot straight upward and vanished into the night sky. The control room went quiet, just me, my commander, and 10 dead missiles. When the tech teams arrived, they found nothing wrong. No circuits burned, no equipment damaged, just disabled. They said it was an intermittent electrical pulse, but I knew better. No random pulse shuts down 10 ICBMs at once and then leaves no trace. I couldn't talk about it. I signed the papers. They said it was classified, national security, so I buried it for years. But the image of that light, it never left me. People ask me now if I think they were hostile. I don't. Not one piece of equipment was destroyed. Not one life was harmed. They didn't fire, they disarmed. I think they were sending us a message, not in our language, but in their own. A warning. Years later, I told Congress what I believed the message was. 3 simple words. WTF. Nuclear weapons. Crude, I know, but maybe that's what it takes to wake us up. They weren't threatening us, they were telling us, stop. That maybe, in their eyes, we're the dangerous ones. That was the night the nukes went silent. The night I learned how fragile our control really is. If someone or something out there can reach into our most guarded vaults and turn off Armageddon with the pulse of a light, then maybe we were never the masters of this world. We were just being watched. The stories you've heard may seem unbelievable until the night you see something you can't explain. This is Strange Encounters, reminding you that the truth is not always out there. Sometimes it's already here.